one of the questions, Chris, that we asked last week was, if Usyk is able to win, is he a top 10 heavyweight of all time?
You want me to answer that, or you want to take that one?
Well,
You want me to answer it?
I think we both said yes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we both said yes. Obviously, I had to go back to the archives, you know, the top 10. When I think of those names, you think, of course, of the Ali's. You think of the Joe Frazier's, the Rocky Marcianos, the Lennox Lewis's, Joe Louis. Think of those names, and again, obviously, they find a different era, much more fighters, harder eras, in my opinion. Obviously, we have the advancement in technology and athleticism, but yeah, man. As I was looking at that list, Gio, I feel like he makes a case for top 10. He, like you mentioned earlier, he bought the two best heavyweights available to him, which he had to go up a weight, to challenge these guys. And these were guys that were supposed to like wash him, and he was never supposed to be in their level in their league. And he didn't just do it once; he did it twice. So just based off of that, and the way he did it, you obviously we can't do these fantasy fights, but if you try to pin him against the Rocky Marcianos, you say, okay, he has better boxing ability. So yeah, with what he's done so far, Gio, I think he cracks the top 10. And in my opinion, there's still more to go. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so last week I said, yeah, without a doubt, he's a top 10 if he's able to win because my
Yeah,
reasoning was, you know, obviously he's undisputed now, but aside from that, I think the biggest argument against him, I'm sure in the eyes of a lot of people, is well, he's a small heavyweight. He probably wouldn't be able to beat a lot of those other guys, right? But I think that narrative kind of is eliminated because he literally fought the biggest heavyweight champion in I don't know how many years. He might be the biggest ever, 6'9", close to 300 pounds, and he defeated him twice. However, man, I just don't think it was convincing enough. I don't think this win was convincing enough. Um, Even against Joshua, he struggled a little bit. So when you start thinking about the other guys who you would consider top 10 heavyweights of all time, man, if Usyk's not able to hurt you, I think he's gonna suffer because to me, against a guy like Joshua, I don't think those fights should have been as competitive as they were. I do think Usyk is levels above Joshua's, but even then, those fights were 7-5, 8-4 for Usyk. He didn't really dominate them. So, yeah, I would definitely see him struggling against any other guy that you want to mention. Who was the other champion? Was it Holyfield who came up from cruiserweight as well?
yeah, Holyfield. Yep.
Like against a guy like Holyfield, I mean, would you favor Usyk? Against a guy like Ali, who has probably similar skills to Tyson Fury, except he can move a lot better. Would you favor Usyk over guys like that? Would you favor Usyk over a 21-year-old Mike Tyson who's just gonna come out to try to kill you? Lennox Lewis, man, I don't know.
I would say I wouldn't favor him against the top five. The Muhammad Ali's, the Joe Lewis's, of the world. Wherever the top five are the top five. So those guys are built different. They're generational talents. They're just the cream of the crop. Um, from level five to level 10, top five. From the 5 to the 10 position, Gio, I give him a chance. Again, these are even though he didn't, like you said, didn't mop the floor with these giants. He's not supposed to, Gio. He's coming up from cruiserweight. The fact that he hurt both of them, he almost knocked out Anthony and Joshua. That's props to Joshua for weathering that storm. And he had Tyson Fury 6'9" hurt in the ninth round. So, the fact that he's hurting these bigger guys, obviously didn't take him out, but hurt them to the point where he was close. I would favor him against, I wouldn't say favor, but I would it'd be a toss up against the Holyfields. Lennox Lewis, that's a big fight. That's a bigger one. That's probably a little bit tougher, but against some of those other guys, the Rocky Marciano wasn't that big. I give him a chance, man. Again, he's one of the most, versatile and highest, IQ boxers, not just in modern time, but I think he can compete with any guys in that heavyweight division outside of Ali. But yeah, man, I will give him, a fighting chance.
Well, first of all, Chris, you're acting like Usyk is 5'10", 215 pounds. Oh, that was Mike Tyson actually. So I'm not sure why you're trying to excuse him as to why he should get more credit. He's 6'2", 6'3", 225.
Yeah.
It seems like you're giving him a lot of credit against Tyson Fury because he's smaller.
Again, Gio, this like he's fighting giants. The Muhammad Ali's, the Joe Lewis's, the Rocky Marcianos. These were not
He's
huge.
he's actually he's Usyk is bigger than a Muhammad Ali if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So
About the
again,
same
I would
height. Ali was probably skinnier. So
slimmer. Yeah.
yeah,
I again, I'll give him a chance against any you know from 5 to 10 position. I give him a chance, and again, it would be competitive. Obviously those guys, the Joe Lewis's, the Muhammad Ali's, those guys are they're top five for a reason. They're just there's something in them. There's something in them I think would bring the best out of an Usyk. Obviously we will never know, but I give him chance against any top 10, in my opinion.
Clyde says he's borderline top 10. Iceman he says he's the same size as Ali. And then Clyde actually agreed with you with the Usyk take earlier about the fight. He says first time I agree with Christian and disagree with Gio. So hey, congrats to you, Chris. Someone agreed with you this year.
Hey, Gio, you gotta take that bias out, Gio. Again, you gotta take the little bifocals out.
Hey,
Again, I was watching the fight,
Chris,
Gio, and
Chris, you're the one
let me let,
saying that Usyk, you were scoring him for Usyk because he's smaller. Like that has nothing to do with scoring.
no,
You
I
should
think he was
score it even.
smaller. It's the same way. Like I can't just score a punch for Tyson Fury just because he's bigger. Like it's gotta be a mixture of the volume. It's gotta be a picture of it's gotta be the accuracy. Ring generalship. It's a bunch of combinations, but yeah, man. Yeah, see, Clyde knows. He doesn't have a bias. Let me ask you this: when you were watching the fight, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought there was a big bias towards Tyson Fury. Obviously it's a British commentary crew. That we saw the fight through. I felt there was a lot of bias, man. Again, they were saying, again when we say bias, it's not like they're outright, bad mouthing the other guy. It's just they're always saying, "Oh, this is what Tyson Fury should do. Oh, Tyson Fury should do this. Oh, he's doing this well." And they didn't really mention that from Usyk. And Usyk, in my opinion, was doing all the right things in moments, and they didn't mention that. So that's where my bias. When I see a bias, I call it out. So I don't know, Gio. I think you gotta take the bias out.
Well, I'm not the one scoring rounds because one guy's smaller and one guy's bigger, Chris. But honestly, I wasn't paying attention to the commentary, so I don't know. I did read that a lot. A lot of people were upset at that. And British commentators are very biased, so they do tend to get annoying. I actually thought again, same thing. Like British people don't really like Tyson Fury like that. I don't think he was getting enough credit. Like they never mentioned Tyson Fury's jab in this whole fight. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Again, I'll watch it again, Gio. I'll watch it again, and you know, I thought I had a good, close, well established scorecard, but I'll watch it again, and we'll see. That'll be our homework. If you guys can watch it again, I'm sure. Uh, Turkey's gonna have it up. Maybe
Yeah,
he
I
doesn't have
shared
it up
it.
already.
I shared it on our community tab. It's right here. You guys can go watch it, the full fight. Um, and I'll guarantee you, Chris, you won't find 5 rounds in a row for either guy in this fight. That's like Chuck says, guaranteed.